If you love Batman vs. Superman, the Justice League is going to be a little bit disappointing for you. If you didn't like Batman vs. Superman, the Justice League is going to be a little bit disappointing for you. Justice League is gloriously stupid. It's not a bad watch, it's just really dumb. The characters are hit and miss, the plot is absolute garbage, characters come and go without real consequence, and it's okay because DC and Warner Brothers decided they don't care anymore. Batman vs. Superman is a beautiful looking movie. Love Zack Snyder or hate him, take him or leave him, he knows how to work a camera. He has an eye for detail, and it's a glorious looking flick in all its dark blacks and grays. And BVS had this very dark, angsty, brooding tone about it. It didn't joke at all. It was very just mad all the time. It was very hate-filled. Even Superman, who we're supposed to love and be enamored by, comes off as kind of an asshole. Then he's killed off unceremoniously in a scene that I thought was very questionable. I figured he could have killed him in another way, like maybe just throw the spear at Doomsday. But we're left with the consequences of that decision to kill him off in the Justice League, and the film is very much focused around that. The lack of Superman, the lack of happiness, of hope, of justice. It's bizarre, because we don't really get to see the happy, friendly Superman on screen. In the first movie, in Man of Steel, he's coming into his own. That's why it's called Man of Steel, not Superman. He's still trying to figure out where he belongs on Earth. And by the end of it, he's like, you know, saluting the officers. He's like, okay, I'm going to be Superman now. We're good. In Batman vs. Superman, all we get is the carnage he caused and the people that hate him and are pissed at him. So we don't ever get to see this beacon of hope that Superman is supposed to be. But Justice League pretends that we did. And everybody's really sad and upset, including Batman, who is best friends with him for all of 2 minutes. And context is king. It matters so much, especially when we're supposed to love these characters that we're getting very little screen time with, because Justice League is building up all these other guys too. We got the Flash in this one, we have Cyborg in this one, we have Aquaman, we have all these other little side characters. And since I mentioned them, let's talk about them. I don't like the Flash in this. I think you're either going to love him or you're going to hate him. I was not a fan. I get that they wanted to have some comic relief to lighten the mood a little bit. I thought his timing was off. I thought his stuttering was forced. Nothing really worked there. And towards the end of the film, I don't know if this is because directors changed from Zack Snyder to Joss Whedon or when he was involved or how much say he had, but there's a point where his running is completely different. Earlier, he's doing a solid run. He's clearly on a treadmill with the green screen behind him, but at the end, he's like flailing his arms awkwardly and his legs are like shooting out to the sides. It looks fucking stupid. I don't know what happened. I feel like they didn't have the treadmill anymore and they're just like pretend to run standing still. So he's like, I'm the Flash. So Flash is a miss for me. Cyborg is a complete and utter disaster, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. The CGI on him is disgustingly bad. It's laughably bad. Someone got paid to make that? That animator is losing his job for this. Laughing how bad this looks. We're supposed to care about him, but there's not enough time dedicated to the backstory, which I was fine with. I had no interest in hearing anything more about him. I know there's some football stuff cut, though, because I remember it in the trailer. There was clearly a scene where he was on a football field, and I think a fucking tank is flying at him at one point. There were quite a few shots from the trailer that were not in this, which is the norm for a DC film. So get ready right now, because I guarantee you there's going to be a fucking 3-hour version of this movie that's going to be released on Blu-ray digital when it eventually comes out. They'll probably wait and release the original version first, this theatrical cut, wait like 6 months, and then do the other one so they can double, triple dip, whatever they need to do to make their money back. Characters I did like, Aquaman. Thought he was hilarious, thought he was awesome. There's some fun gags around his character, but he's very badass. He says whatever he wants, he takes whatever he wants, doesn't give a shit. And then there's everybody's favorite, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. She's just terrific. Most of the movie, I'm just looking at her going, can we just have Wonder Woman 2 instead of this? Or just remove all these other people and I'll just watch her kick ass and take names. And if you find her to be stunningly attractive, which you of course should, don't worry. There's men behind the camera this time, and they make sure to do every gratuitous shot you can think of. A lot of backside shots going around, a lot of underneath upskirt shots. I was pretty amazed by how much they were doing, actually. I was like, I don't remember any of that in her standalone film. It's very tasteful, very well shot, without the need of these over-sexualized things. I mean, she's already in a skimpy-ass outfit. You don't really have to go too much further, but if you're looking for some of that, you're going to find it here. It's in spades. So 2 bad characters for me, 2 good characters for me, and then we have Batman, who is a caricature. He's a comedy, he's a joke, he's a punchline. What the hell happened to Batman? I thought that he was like the coolest DC character. I thought everybody loved Batman. In this, he's just a running gag. They make him out to be the biggest bitch in this film. He went from BVS being that, really pissed off at the world, killing guys left and right, having awesome action segments where he takes out like 20 thugs in a warehouse, to maybe pepper spraying one of these little alien bug things and then getting bitch slapped around by everybody on his team to the point where he's got like broken ribs and bruises everywhere. It's comical. They do a shot, bird's eye view, looking down on his body as he's laying there, paralyzed. Like, is this real? Is this really happening? It was like the college humor version of Batman, or something you'd see in Family Guy, but this was the real thing. And that did not work for me at all. I just could not believe what I was seeing. It's like, what happened to the cool Batman? I thought, I was like on board with Ben Affleck. I didn't think I would be, but they sold me in that not good BVS movie, and now they've ruined him. Which maybe that's intentional, because Ben doesn't seem very interested in the DC franchise anymore. I'll go into my favorite character in a little bit. I'll throw up a spoiler tag, or I'll just tell you it's a spoiler. But I don't want to talk about what that is now, because even though it's the worst kept secret on the planet and everybody knew it was going to happen, but we'll save it for later. The villain's terrible. There's not much else to say. He's a bad guy. He's a threat. He wants to take over the world, enslave take over all the planets. All the major things are glossed over in single sentences, and I couldn't keep up, nor did I really care to. It's just silly magic shit. It doesn't matter. What matters is the main story and the people that are involved in it. So if you're on board with the story and with the people, all the other stuff is that's just window dressing. Oh, there are these floating cubes that entrap people, or they bring other dimensions into ours. Okay, cool, whatever. Bad guys, fine. I don't know if this is a Snyder thing. I don't know if it's the constant Warner Brothers mandates to make the movies shorter, but this thing's all over the place. The editing is just as frantic as it was in BVS. I heard the director's cut's better. I personally could not watch a movie that was longer in runtime than BVS was. I can't imagine a longer version of that film is going to make Lex Luthor less terrible. If anything, it's just going to bring him out more pronounced. I can't imagine a longer version of BVS is going to make Doomsday look less stupid. So there's just whatever. We're done shitting on BVS. Justice League doesn't have time to breathe. Clearly a lot was cut to keep this thing moving, and I appreciate that because it is just dumb nonsense. So at least I'm getting entertained quickly. I don't have to wait for these filler scenes to finish up. The movie opens though with Batman like stopping a criminal on the rooftops. I'm like, okay, Batman's doing his thing, and then like a fucking alien bug comes out, and I thought, oh, so we're just in this already. This is already happening. The nonsense from BVS's dream world is just here. We're just doing it. And then it immediately jumps to Wonder Woman in the bank, saving people. There's no subtle transition to any of it, and that whole bank scene was pointless. It had nothing to do with anything. I mean, I could see where they were going with it, because by the end there is a little bit of circular logic, but it's so far and removed from what the audience is looking for that it's just, why? It's fan service and nothing more, which is cool. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of action. Action without purpose or real heart or real meaning behind it, though, is just action and nothing else. And so if you're just looking for some cool, Batman swinging around, Wonder Woman punching guys in the face, tons of hero landing poses. I think there's 20 of them in the film. A lot of concrete was broken by these people, by their landings. Land softer, for fuck's sake. Land softer. Yeah, Batman's fighting in this one sucks too. He just can't do shit because he's fighting aliens and the Steppenwolf guy. He's weak to them. And it's funny because he'll be in the room and like Flash will be getting choked out, or Cyborg will get his arm like ripped off and beaten over his head with it. Well, that doesn't happen, but close. And Batman's just sitting there like a bitch. He's just got his grappling hook. Like, oh, that sucks. Well, I'm just gonna sit here because I can't do it. Oh! I guess I'll leave it with this. If you like BVS, you're gonna go to this anyways, and you'll still probably enjoy it, just probably not as much as BVS, because I don't know what mindset you're in that you love that film, so I really can't say how you're gonna react to this. If you can enjoy schlock, you'll enjoy this. I'm gonna throw out spoilers now, so if you don't want to have anything ruined, walk away. Although I think there's really only one big thing to ruin, and you should have saw this coming a million miles away, which is, leave now if you haven't, or if you want to stay, then, which is Superman's back. Yeah, it should have been obvious if you saw any articles in the last couple months about his mustache being an issue because he was shooting a different film in tandem, Mission Impossible 5 or 6, whatever they're on now. So they had to digitally remove that because it was in his closet, he couldn't shave it. And because that was in my mind, every time Superman was on screen, I'm like, is it there? Can I see like the fake lips that they put on him with the computers? So that was always, that's annoying when you know that kind of inside stuff. You're just sitting there looking for it, and there's this part of your brain that even though you're listening to him and you're excited to see him, you're still looking for those hairs. Are they there? He's by far the highlight for me. I like Man of Steel. I don't love it. I recognize there's lots of issues with it, but I don't really like any of the Superman movies. I was never big on Richard Donner's. Of course, as a kid, I liked them because it was cool. It's Superman. It's awesome. But growing up now, seeing how kind of ridiculous and silly they are, the effects are really bad. I understand it's a product of its time, but it's a product of its time. We do evolve. We grow. BVS, huge injustice to him. There wasn't a pun there. Although, effects-wise, in this film, it did remind me of Injustice 2. There's a lot of moments where it feels like you're watching a video game. I want to see him saving people constantly. I want to see the smile on his face, the happiness that kids get from watching their hero fly in the sky. But they murder him. He's Ghost. And we know he's coming back. And it was stupid and pointless. And then we have to spend half of a fucking movie trying to get him resurrected. It was an inconvenience that didn't need to exist. Well, this sucks. Life sucks. Oh, he's back. Okay, well, if we're just going to kill him and bring him back whenever we want, it starts to lose its luster. It's like that stupid show my wife watches, Supernatural. They're on like season 20. I think the brothers have died 13 times or so. And I just ask her, like, well, what is the point of this if they can never die? Well, it's because the characters are great. The fans love the characters. And Henry Cavill, he's a great Superman. He really is. They just need to give him his chance in the spotlight to really shine. And good news for you, Justice League, I think they did that very well. The moment he's resurrected and he takes on the 4 other members of his team like they're nothing, that is perfection. Wonder Woman comes up, takes her down. Cyborg, hey, you're a bitch. Flash comes running around. He's taking on this and he just does one of these. And he's like, And then he throws a swing at him. Oh my God, that scene is awesome. And then the comedy comes back. The joke of the film comes in. Batman. Hang on. I don't have any powers and I'm completely worthless in this film. I had to run up all those stairs back there. There's a lot of stairs. I'm not in near as good a shape as I was in the last film. My costume somehow looks even dumber. And I can see that I've walked in on a whole mess of issues. And I forgot the cube. I forgot the mother box back there. Hopefully nobody takes... Fuck me, he took it. That's on me. World's greatest detective. That's on me. Everything with Superman is gold. He's a powerhouse. He looks at Steppenwolf. He's like, is this dickhead still giving you problems? You're still working on this guy? Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Laser eyes. Zzz, ice breath. Fire piss. Welcome to Earth. And then he leaves. High fives. Wonder Woman slaps her ass. Male director, it's cool. The other thing that kind of pulled my dick the wrong direction was they have these little societies built up. You have the Amazonians, you have the water people, I forgot the name of them, Aquaman's crew. You have the humans, and there's this whole Lord of the Rings thing where they separated these mother boxes, the rings, away from people so they don't get corrupted by the power. Very Lord of the Rings. Anyway, I thought we were going to get kind of this big battle again, like they had at the beginning that they cock teased us with, but they didn't return. Instead, the Amazonians just kind of stayed in their little area. They're ready for war. There was a fun video game sequence that took place there where a bunch of them got wiped out, and I thought, okay, let's go get revenge, ladies. And aqua people, water bubble people, come on up to the surface. Let's all join forces. Let's take on this evil crew. But it never happens. And I thought that was just a missed opportunity. I thought Superman was going to bring everybody together. Also, I think there's 6 civilians in the whole movie. There's a family of 4 that drives a shitty truck that apparently lives out in the middle of nowhere. And there's like 2 other random civilians that they save. And that's it. The rest of the city, the rest of the world is nowhere to be found. It's just Amy Adams, the mom. What was her name again? What was the mom's name? I know it was... There's a couple of women with the same name. Martha! Where is she? Where's Martha? Why'd you say that name? Why'd you say that fucking name? I don't think they say Martha one time in Justice League. They learned their lesson. Maybe in the director's cut you're going to get a Martha or 2. And lastly, the movie's ending is jarringly abrupt. And clearly not the ending they had planned on. Amy Adams is like mid-sentence when they cut this thing off. She's like, and he's up in the sky. Credits. I couldn't believe that. What a lackluster film all around. What a half-assed production this was. This is a 300, 400 million. I don't know how much it escalated up at the end with reshoots and whatnot, but what a disappointment. This is Superman. This is Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, some of the most well-known characters. This is supposed to be their Avengers, and it just, yeah, it just comes off as kind of lazy and really doesn't seem like it has the heart and the passion involved this time that there was in BVS, which was a colossal train wreck in my eyes, but at least Snyder had a vision. It was just a really shitty one, but it was his and he owned it, and he definitely had his passion on the screen there. This time, it just seems like it's kind of committee-based. There's directors coming and going. And yeah, what we're left with is kind of a silly final product. I'd love to hear from you, though, on your thoughts. Leave a comment, subscribe if you'd like. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have you watching my show so I can make my pennies on the views. Yeah, maybe I'll see you around. Also, Movie Feuds is a big show on this channel for me, so I was planning on doing Justice League versus something. Justice League versus the Avengers makes sense, maybe. Justice League versus BVS, maybe. Let me know what you want to see. Take care.